Hello and welcome everyone to our live stream series. My name is Krista Goon and I'm from Redbox Studio. And if you're watching this on Facebook, welcome. If you're watching this on YouTube, welcome. And if you're watching this on LinkedIn, also welcome. And since we're streaming to 3 places, so let us know in the comments where you're watching from, especially your location. And if you're watching this as a replay, welcome too. So today we'll be talking about retail and retail strategies with Timothy Liew, who is the co-founder of Visata Creative Sendirian Berhad based in Kuala Lumpur. So in this 1 hour, we will invite you to join us with your comments, questions, and of course, your opinions about retail. This is an interactive session, so jump in with your questions and comments, and we will try our best to answer them. And of course, this is the best time for you to really get to know Timothy as well as what he does. So Timothy will be giving us some really exciting strategies, tips, and ideas about retail. And this will really, really help all of us in our business. Whether or not you're in retail or you have friends who are in retail, please remember to tag or share this live stream with them so that they can get the best information. But more importantly than that, they can actually ask questions. So the best part about live stream is that you can actually ask questions and get a direct answer. So that's why I love doing live streaming. And in this show, of course, I bring on guests who will share with us all about business, leadership, and marketing every 2 weeks. And of course, if you have a guest to suggest, if you have someone in mind, please let me know. Then I will try to bring them on and bring on the best topics that I can bring to you. Now, a quick introduction about Redbox Studio. So what we do is we offer web development, we offer brand strategy and marketing communications via our consultancy, our products, training and services to business owners who really want to harness the power of digital, starting with their website. So we work particularly well with business owners who offer services because intangible services need more focus and positioning. So to find out more, just visit redboxstudio.com and remember to get on a mailing list so that you'll be updated about our live streams when we stream every 2 weeks. And now let's introduce our guest for today. So Tim Liew, his full name, of course, is Timothy Liew, but he puts as Tim Liew. Tim Liew is a serial entrepreneur and speaker with over 16 years of experience in the retail design industry. He is the co-founder of Visata Creative Sendirian Berhad and holds the title of Certified Mall Marketing and Leasing Manager as certified by the Malaysian Shopping Mall Association. He also serves as the head of Retail, Food and Beverage Subcommittee for Samanta, which stands for Small and Medium Enterprises Association Malaysia. His firm services clients such as Jaya Grocer, Nikon Photocam, Za Altera, and many others. And in this 1 hour, we'll be really getting into the things that Tim does. And his mission is to help retailers grow great brands. And he believes that great branding and marketing can not only help a business survive, but bring amazing value to its customers. In his free time, his passion is to travel to visit different shopping destinations to take in new retail concepts with the hope of furthering his education in retail, design, and management. Now, if you just join us, leave us a hello in the comments and tell us where you're from and what you do. And yes, you can even link to your business page. And now, without much further ado, let me bring on Timothy Liew.
Hi, Krista.
Hi, Timothy. Good morning to you.
Good morning indeed. Good morning. It's great to be here today. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. And I see a comment from Mala. Hi, Mala. Good morning from sunny
Hi, Mala.
Kuala Lumpur.
Good morning indeed.
So today is the day we talk about retail strategies. And the reason why I wanted to bring Tim on was because, as we all know, Malaysia, we're slowly opening up. And everyone's excited about retail, whether you're a consumer or you're a retailer, because we're all being cooped up too long at home.
Yes, we have.
So what do you feel from, because you're on 2 sides, right? You're helping retailers, but at the same time, I'm sure you're also eager to go out and do some form of shopping and all that. So what's your take on this?
Well, I guess everyone's yes, dying to go out.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely true. However, I think what I've seen this time round from the previous lockdowns, to be very honest, is there's a certain amount of fear and skepticism in the market of number one from a retail owner's side, the idea of is the SOP going to turn around again? Am I going to open up, hire people, and then the government's going to make a U-turn? So that there's that concern there. So a lot of people are holding off. Secondly, I think with the number of cases still sort of in the highs, people are still concerned about going out. That's generally the feeling. So yeah, I mean, you can see the effect on the market this time is that it's not as crazy as it was during the first or second lockdown, but definitely I think things are starting back much slower this time.
And what is how should I say, what should be the best way to start up? It's like slowly, like we were talking behind the stage just now, right? Talking about
Mm.
how it should be done.
Yep.
Is there a specific industry that should open first, or is there a specific kind of retail that should open first?
Yeah, well, I think we've pretty much I think what really a lot of them have started to open. I think the first one the government opened was generally the food stores, right? So the F&B outlets, the restaurants, they really opened up first. Now followed by, of course, some other non-essential, like I think toy stores recently opened, sports stores are starting to open up again, fashion boutiques. However, I think the ones that we should really be looking into reopening are more of the spas, the full services for your hairdressers and stuff like that, because that's the real catalyst for, I think, the the sad part is that we still can't interstate travel, so people are looking to pamper themselves. I think, and I really pity the poor spa owners, and they are really always the first to close and always the last to open. So that's kind of like the part where I feel so sad for them, and I think the government should really let them reopen as quickly as possible, because that's where you really know whether, excuse me, the whether the vaccines are really working. You see the
Mm,
case transmissions because it's pretty close to each other and stuff like that. So I think the government should really explore that portion.
okay, okay. So just a quick pause there. I want to say good morning to a couple of people who joined us. Hi, Kelvin Quay.
Yeah. Good morning, Calvin.
And there's Joyce saying hello, good morning. There's Vernon Fu, good morning to you. And Viken Woon. Okay. I'm sure these are KL people.
Yes, they are all they are all KL people, all my friends. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for everyone coming here today.
Yeah. So now that we've got that technical elephant out of the room, right? Uh, what is actually coming up in the next couple of months? I mean, give us the most realistic scenario. I mean, you know the retail industry best. So I know
Mhm.
that you wanted to say that to start all those spas and hairdressers first. But of course, right now it's like everybody seems to want to start all at one go. But what's the best and realistic scenario for the next couple of months? Let's say right now until end of the year for
Well,
retail.
I think that's a great question, Krista. I think what really retailers should be looking at in the next couple of months is really slow sales. We really don't. I don't really see people coming back out just yet, um, with the confidence to spend. And that could be two things, right? One, it could be the fact that everyone still are not comfortable, and our own survey polls certainly indicate that people are still not comfortable coming out. Second could be actually just a reduced capacity in terms of being able to spend. So I think retailers can expect really slow sales in the beginning, but definitely you start seeing that build up towards the end of the year, Christmas. What we used to call in the retail scene was like was sort of like a Santa Claus effect towards the end of the year, where people will be spending. It's the year end, the holidays, so really you start seeing that fever pitch in terms of consumer confidence coming back towards the tail end of the end of the year. But overall, I do believe honestly, consumer spending will veer more towards experiences. As soon as we can have large scale interstate travel, you'd see people really going off for their holidays. So retail may not be as I would say that the spending in retail may not be as strong as that of really experiential spending. People will be dying to go on their holidays. Look at the uptick for the travel bubble with Langkawi, right? People are already. I know a few people who already told me that they've started to go.
Yeah.
So I think that's where you'll see. So retail may not experience that growth that they're looking in for in the next few months. Overall, I think we will not be seeing that return of strong sales at least until early part of next year, in my personal opinion.
Okay. So that's your most realistic uh, scenario, lah, right, for
Yeah,
retailers.
yeah.
So it's not to be super optimistic. Like everyone's going to rush out to go to the shops and shop.
Yeah, no, I really don't see that primarily because as this pandemic has really dragged on, you've really seen the effect on not only retail businesses shutting down, but you've seen actual businesses having issues keeping up with payments, having just that difficulty of surviving. So definitely you start to see people people sort of reduce their spending. I think you also start to see the reality. I think with any economic downturn, whether it's a natural one or an unforeseen one, like what we've been experiencing the last 18 months, you really see that it's always the middle class that get trapped because they're not really subsidized,
Hmm.
but at the end also they're not at sort of like the end of the spectrum, the B40, right? The day traders and so on. So that's where you see I see a lot of the government uh, channeling that support over there, which is good, which is a good thing. But I think we also forget that the middle class gets trapped as well. And from the businesses that I've been speaking to, the reality is that it's been extremely difficult for them to also get any form of support in terms of loan applications or extensions or the so-called moratorium, which the you see the banks really saying that it's readily available, but whether they've been able to get it, I haven't met many businesses, specifically, of course, in my industry, that have been able to get that support. To be honest,
Okay. So that's pretty like sad to be stuck and sandwiched in the middle, right?
yeah, yeah, definitely. I think that would be Malaysia's challenge economically over the next decade. That we don't we are not unable to grow the middle class quickly enough that it outpaces inflation or the cost of living.
Okay. So when we were chatting backstage just now, you said that you had some questions, or you had a question, a specific question that you wanted to ask people. So what would that question be?
Okay, I mean, really, one of the biggest thing that we really want to find out from the general public right now, and those who are watching today or who will be watching the replay, really, if you're double vaccinated, you're fully vaccinated. My question to you really is, are you going out? You can let me know. Yes, I am. No, I'm not going out because I'm not comfortable. Or I think the last answer I would love to hear is no, because I don't have my double dose vaccination or I'm not fully vaccinated. So we want to sort of catch the we want to sort of catch the feel of the pulse of the people at the moment. Really, whether they are fully vaccinated, but they're just choosing not to go out because there's that fear, of the pandemic, and what 18 months has really changed our habit in terms of uh, going out. Right, a lot of people now are very comfortable staying home. We are really freaked out about having face-to-face meetings. I mean, I had one or two face-to-face meetings, and I found myself personally very uncomfortable. So that's one of the things that really is getting me a little bit wondering whether it's a total change in behavior or it's going to take some time. So that's really my question. If you're not going out, is it because you're worried about the number of cases and generally don't feel comfortable, or yes, you don't care. I'm ready to go out to my cinemas and I'm ready to go out there and spend. That's really the question we want to answer.
Yeah. So I think Riaz has an answer for you. Even though we are vaccinated, we have concerns for the kids.
Definitely, I think yeah, if you have young kids, same here. I have two young kids as well, so yeah, it's a cause of concern for me as well. Yeah, but how do you deal with it, Riaz? My kids are going stir crazy, honestly. Uh, One of the stories is that the Lazada guy came to drop off something, and quickly my daughter saw. I thought we were going out. She wore her shoes, everything, and she threw a fit. After that, we had to take her for a short ride somewhere. So I don't know how you deal with it. So parents with kids, tell me, in the comments, like how do you deal with kids? They are young and stuck at home.
Yeah. Thanks, Riaz, for that comment. So we have a couple more comments. Okay, so Alisa says, won't go out actively, still reserved. Vaccinated still can be a virus carrier. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. That's
Good
true.
point. Good point. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you, Alisa. And then Vikan says, fully vaccinated, personally won't be going out unless there's a real need, shopping malls per se. Oh,
Oh, okay, okay.
okay. And then Latin. Yes, that was a subway pyramid tenant. Quite a lot of people. Maybe you're out shopping.
Interesting, interesting. Okay, what were you doing there, Leighton? Also shopping? We need your help. We need your help. The industry
Or
needs
buying
your
breakfast. Kapau
help.
breakfast.
Maybe, maybe.
Okay, and then Mala says, many KL folks looking forward to coming back safely to Penang for food catch up. Okay.
Yes, it's true. I have a project in Penang, and I'm not allowed to go up as well. So it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I think
it's
also because Penang businesses have, really need a lot of outstation guests to come back in. So
yeah,
even a lot of Penang businesses are really suffering because of it. Because it's a tourist related kind of businesses, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And I also heard that one of the hotels are closing down. Is it Royal Penang? I heard that.
Yeah. Hotel Royal Penang. Yeah.
Yeah, they're also shutting down. I mean, it's a sad truth to that. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Also, he says, have to find a vacant park that's not too busy. We go around 6 p.m. That's a good
that's a good point.
strategy. That's a good
But
idea.
yeah, but I think you can see from the responses even here, right? That,
Yeah.
that there's that level of comfort that people are still not comfortable going out. I mean, majority of people, our commenters here are even saying that they're really not comfortable going out to a crowd and stuff. So yeah, I guess our those small our little poll did actually capture a little bit of the pulse of so we just wanted more people to feedback to really understand, is that really what's happening in the market.
Okay.
And you know probably, if you don't mind, I would like to drop another question
Sure, go ahead. Because
to the viewers.
it's also good for us to know, right? What are the
Yeah,
sentiments on the ground?
yeah. So I think the question that I would like to also ask the viewers today is really, what are some of the things that retailers will need to put in place to really get your confidence level back to going out. Is it so? When I say retailers, I mean even the shopping mall management per se, right? What do they need to do? Do they need to, for example, limit the capacity of people entering the shopping mall to maybe 50% of what their parking space numbers are? Um, um, are you looking at that? Or do you want more evidence of the sanitization and the safety protocols that put in place to keep you safe and comfortable? So yeah, sort of like give us the comments, in the question of really
Yeah.
what are you looking for to give you that confidence to say, okay, I feel safe going out now.
Yeah. So I think Mala has answered your question even before you asked. So she said, yes, fully vaccinated. Do pop out only if the place is not crowded and SOPs closely followed.
I see, I
So
see. Okay, okay.
yeah.
That's a great answer. Thanks, Mala. That's really a great answer. Yeah. So if the place is not too crowded, yeah. So that's the problem, right? Um,
Hmm.
how do we really justify that? Because from a business perspective, if the place is not crowded, I can't justify staying on as a business, as a going concern, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's why you see some of even my client Jaya Grocer, I think recently shut down KL Eco City because love shopping. I think a lot of people in Bangsa told me they love shopping there because there's not a lot of people. It's not fully crowded with people, and the reality is that it's hard to justify a going concern because you're paying the rental, you're paying for the staff, and there's not a lot of business. So even a business like I guess supermarket, which is considered doing phenomenally well during this pandemic, for them I think the motto is a pandemic's a terrible thing to waste, right? So even they are even shutting down certain outlets, at the end of the day.
Yeah. So, okay, so there are some interesting comments coming in. Hello, Cyrus Chia. Is it Cyrus Chia? Hi.
Yeah.
Good
Hi,
morning.
Cyrus. Morning.
Yeah, if you're here today, we're talking about retail with our retail strategist, Tim Liew. But instead, he's also going to ask us questions. So be prepared for an interactive session where we're going to really get your opinions and your comments about retail, right? So Ria says it'd be nice to see a click and collect counter if we wish to avoid very crowded shops, which is true.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I even find myself thinking, okay, when shall I go out to Tesco? Shall I go out when it's not peak hour or when it's like slow, almost at the end of the day when supposedly people are not going out? So those are my concerns too, personally, because I wouldn't want to go to a really crowded area. Okay, then we have Vacant, who says, now with the test kit being capped, I think it's a good idea for retail owners to let shoppers know that they did a test for their staff. It really gives confidence to shoppers. Yeah, I think that's a great idea, Vacant, which really, but also the other thing is test kits, well, it's not really expensive now, but it still is a cost, right, to the retailer.
I think that's the I mean in air quotes here, that's the new normal that we have to deal with, right? It's sort of the idea that there is going to be a increase in the operational costs, and I've said that many times in some of my webinars that we've done with there's one of the effects of this pandemic has really been increased costs in operations, and more of it's to healthcare costs, whether it's testing of your staff, or whether it's, for example, if you're providing certain services, even testing of your customers. I mean, a great thing is that I hear some talk in the town that some businesses are saying that for the services that are like, for example, like massages and stuff, they're thinking of before every client comes in, we'll send you a test kit to your house. You do the test on the day
Okay.
or before you come in to visit us, and we'll pay for it. And then that's going to be, and I think that's a great way for retailers to sort of win back the confidence of customers, right? That ultimately, well, we won't be talking about the efficacy of the test, right?
Yeah.
And let us leave that aside and assume that the tests work. And I think that's one of the ways that I think retailers, with the increased costs, I think customers are okay for that. It really depends again on the type of customer you're focusing on. That to me is the point.
But I think for spas and places like that, because of the contact, right? Because there's all this direct contact. I think that's where people are more fearful, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Leighton says, enforced SOP Summit Pyramid made this look obvious at the entrances.
Yeah, I think Sunway Pyramid to me has always been at the forefront of the way things are done. They've been very transparent. I think they were the first as well, if I'm not wrong, to highlight that they will only be allowing fully vaccinated people into their malls, which I thought was a bold move. Though unpopular, it shows right off the bat that as an organization, they're at the forefront of taking care of customers' health and welfare. So yeah, I think great point there, they did.
Yeah. Okay, so now I want to ask some questions.
Yeah.
I want to ask my questions. So right now, let's talk about customer consumption patterns, right? Which have definitely evolved since all of us have been quote unquote locked down, not locked down, locked down, not locked down. So we're all changed in many ways. So how does this really affect the actual brick and mortar retail landscape? And are there any ways for us to get around that? Because definitely we won't be going back to 2 years ago kind of situation, right? For retail.
Yeah, yeah. Great question. I think Krista. I think one of the key changes you see, and we've been talking about this now for even prior to the pandemic. We said that retail needed to change in terms of the way that business is done. Predominantly, I think prior pre-pandemic, a lot of our retailers were really transactional in nature. They were just saying, you come in, shop, buy. There's no need for to create any sort of experience, and then you see the pandemic hit and the boom in online retail. I think recently I shared. I think was it yesterday or I think on Monday. I shared that Shopee's order volume grew by 111% in 2020. So what that actually tells us is essentially general consumers are no longer going to be going to stores just to transact. They're not going to go into stores just to buy because they literally can get almost anything they want today on these platforms, whether it's through direct e-commerce purchase or it's through the shopping platforms. So really, then we have to ask ourselves, what's the reason for shoppers wanting to come out to do shopping again? Yeah, a lot of people will say right now it's more of it's more of sort of shopper experience and stuff like that. But hang on. Yeah, but I think ultimately, if you look at it, it's really about the experience of the shopper in terms of wanting to go for the experience. So looking forward, I think they really have to really figure out at the end of the day as retailers moving forward, right? How am I going to create more of an experience in shoppers? And that's something that we've been talking about even prior to the pandemic. It's just that this pandemic really has moved our shopping habits 10 years forward. It's given the boom to the online that we probably would have seen only in 5 to 10 years. That's happened today. So I think what customers will be really saying now as they're going out to shop again, right, or coming to your store, they'll really be looking at a few things. One would be customer service. They don't really want to endure terrible customer service. If not, they'll just shop online. Second would be product choice. The product has to be different, exciting, and of course, quality would play an important role. So I think uh, if you're just focusing on cheap product moving forward, that's really going to be a challenge for you. Uh, you're really, in my opinion, not going to survive post-pandemic if you're focused on affordable, cheap, which is what the shopping platforms are already delivering in droves. And it's not something that you can really, really, I would say, compete with.
Yeah. So two things. So for those of you who just joined us, two things that he mentioned, Tim mentioned, is that focus on customer service because that's where you can make the difference to your customers and the shopping experience, as well as product choice. Don't look for the, what you call it, the cheap products, right?
Yep.
But start thinking about how you can give, I would say, better quality products and something unique also, because I think that's what people are looking for, right? Uniqueness, special, something that they can't find mass produced, I guess, elsewhere. Yeah, those are the things that are important.
Yeah,
So
and
let's see.
I think you hit it right on the nail, Krista. When you mentioned that people are looking for something unique. Uh, it's either uniqueness in the way you deliver the product or the service, or uniqueness in the product itself that I can't
Mm,
find on a shopping platform online. That's the way you're gonna survive past what's really happened to the retail landscape already. So I think your point is 100% accurate.
yeah. Will you have any stories of any Malaysian retailers that have done well in these two areas, or anything that comes to mind in your in what you've seen over the last 2 years? I mean, coming almost to 2 years already. So, any specific retailers that you feel like they did well in this time?
Uh, Really not at the moment, though I have been very, though I think that most retailers from what I've seen have really upped their social media game.
Hmm.
They've been very engaging on whether whichever platform, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
Hmm.
You've seen brands really step out of their comfort zones to really try to tackle those markets and try to be relevant there. So we've seen a lot more emphasis on social media in the past 18 months. Uh, Everyone's scrambled to set up their online stores, but in terms of delivering a unique shopping experience, I think quite uh, that hasn't quite arrived yet. I think that's something that as we start back retail for certain, as we see the end of this pandemic, at least to Malaysia coming to an end, right? That really will start to show itself later, I
Hmm.
believe.
Okay. So some of the comments here from our people who are tuning in today. So Daniel says, yes, it's all about the customer experience, both face to face as well as online. Okay, yes, both face to face and online. Yeah. And then Marilyn, hi Marilyn, good morning. Fully
Morning.
agree with customer service. Yeah, I think customer service is the part where uh, people never really, I mean, they took it like, yes, we do have customer service, but they never really raised the bar, I guess, on that. Good morning, Q Hong. And then Daniel says, and some really good retailers are engaging with customers on what they want and how they want it done in real and virtual space. Okay.
It's
Any
interesting.
examples, Daniel? I mean, any brands come to mind? Anybody that you want to give a shout out to? Because I also feel that sometimes we see a lot of this, but we really need to call them out in a positive way, of course, because this is a positive thing, right? If they do really well, I think they should really be, promoted or publicized, lah. So in that case, for all of you who are watching, if you have any questions for Tim, this is the best time to ask Tim questions. Don't waste the opportunity. If you're in
Yeah.
retail or you're doing online retail, e-commerce, selling stuff online, selling stuff offline, I mean, this is the best time to ask him about retail because he has 16 years of experience, right? So don't waste that experience. So, okay, before we get into that, talk a little bit about what you do as a business. Maybe that will also give people some ideas like what kind of questions can I ask him?
All right. Thanks, Krista. Well, as a company, we've been around for the last 17 years. We've really focused, the main core of the business is really interior design, but we focus primarily only on, well, primarily, I guess only is the word. We only focus on retail. So we don't handle any other type of interior design. No houses, no condos, no offices, and stuff like that. Just pure play retail. We started 17 years ago with um, a brand called Photocam. Sadly, they're no longer around. Uh, then which was single business operator. Then we moved on to brands like Giant Grocer, which were what we consider anchor tenants of the mall, where yeah, anchor because they're either at either end of the mall, right? Anytime. And then we've now moved on to designing shopping malls as well. So curating the retail space. So what we've really done is that we've really worked on all spectrums of design for retail, whether it's a single store operator, a small business mom and pop store, or you're a giant multi-store brand, or even you're a developer today thinking of setting up a retail project in your mixed development or your upcoming development. We come in and really advise all three, whether it's the small business owner, the multi-store brand, or whether it's the developer, on what are the best strategies for them in order to create a presence in the retail market. So that sometimes means not only this in the design side, but it also means a lot of times in their retail strategy as well, right? So I find myself advising retailers on their retail strategy on how should they expand. Should they expand uh, post pandemic in the retail presence, or should they now entirely shift online? So we have a lot of sessions like this with brand owners on how they can actually grow post pandemic.
Okay. So, given that you just told me that people ask you that question, so I'm going to ask you that question too. So, how should they grow post pandemic? Since we're already talking about retail post pandemic, right?
Hmm.
Um,
That's a good question. I think for me, right, realistically, business, there's going to be two types of retailers going forward, post pandemic, I mean. One is the fully online retailer, where they've come into the online game late, and they have a small presence, and the other type of retailer would be the retailer that's both online and in store. They have a physical presence. Why is that? Why is there that distinction? Because the reality is that more and more people jump into the online game, it's going to become a lot more saturated, and it's going to be a lot harder to stand out. Um, I mean, from what little experience we have of the online presence and what we've seen realistically, it's very difficult to deliver customer service or a brand experience on a shopping platform. You're not in control of anything. You're not in control of the customer. Uh, Customers don't see you based on how good your products are. They're basically scrolling for your product via just based on price, price and a few other uh, factors. And I can be called out on this. People who are selling online, do jump on and tell me I'm wrong. But the reality is that most people are looking at that. So as it becomes more and more competitive, it's difficult for this online retailer to make that jump to light speed to saying, okay, I'm going to set up a physical store now, because they're just not making enough. So the ones that will really benefit will be the ones that have got into the online game early. They've managed to somehow build on the traction in the past 18 months, and then they should then go out and say, okay, how can I strengthen the physical stores to be a little bit good? Because I think product discovery is still gonna happen physically, whether we like to believe it or not. And whether that format of expansion takes the form of mega stores, or whether that format expansion takes the size of really small stores but in multiple locations closer to the customer, that's a strategy that's individualistic to each brand owner.
Hmm. Okay. So it means that even if you, so those people who are cheering themselves and say, "Hey, I'm online. I'm already going online and selling my stuff." So it's not necessarily better because it's harder to get the real customer service going, right?
Yeah,
Because you find it harder to really interact. I mean, even though you can interact, but and also the other thing I probably should mention is that people expect instantaneous response online.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
if I DM you, message you, and you don't answer within like the next 2 minutes, I rate
Correct.
you as like crappy, right?
Yeah, yeah, and that's the problem, right? So that's really the challenge, that because again the patterns of people shopping online is very different. Most of the time it's not office hours, so it's really difficult to be able to create that customer engagement unless you are really shifting the operations and saying that, yeah, I've got a person on 24/7.
Mm.
They're working on shift to answer any questions. Yeah, I mean, I think I've seen, yeah, I saw some,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
I think I'm very foolish now.
yeah, correct. If no
You don't
answer in
answer.
5 minutes, I go to another seller. Q
Yeah.
Hong, give them a chance.
Yes, kill you. Don't be such a brutal
No,
customer.
but I can understand. I can understand how he's feeling, to be honest. Because
Yeah.
we we really want that that
That personal
expectation.
thing, right?
Yeah,
That personal
yeah,
service, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
That personal service fast. So it translates to in store, right? You're not going to go to a store where the person who's expected to serve you just puts up a hand and says, can you wait for 5 minutes and then I'll come back to you. You're
Mm.
certainly not going to accept that physically. I think, yeah, you're definitely not going to accept that virtually as well. So I can understand how Kyu Hong is feeling. Yeah. So, but again, it's difficult, right? Because most of the sellers that are online at the moment are either single person operations, or they have a small team, which again Malaysians have not been very big on the whole customer service experience thing. Because to dedicate a person just to handling DMs and customer service inquiries, 24/7 is not cheap, you know. And certainly to have them only doing that is it's a stretch. So here's the thing that I'm talking to a lot of retailers, and this is the struggle, right? We asked some. I was with a tech company the other day. They wanted to do a webinar with us. So they asked me really realistically, do I think that retail has a future, or are they just barking up the wrong tree?
Mm.
I think the reality I told them is that um, retail still has an opportunity to grow, but we haven't been focusing on an area called customer service. A lot of the technology that's in play today is about automation. So it's about, and the one that drives you crazy is calling the banks, right? It's all automated, right? You
Yeah,
press this number for, somehow you're just saying, I just want a simple inquiry,
yeah.
and
I just
that's
want
the
to talk to
thing that
someone live, like a real life person.
correct. You just want to talk to a real life person, and that's sadly the thing that we haven't been big on in Malaysia. Customer service. Yeah, that's my feeling.
Okay. So we actually have a couple of comments. Let me just pull up the ones that, because I remember I asked Daniel to elaborate. So he mentioned this Slumberland Subang Jaya, as they sent me a Google Doc on what I was looking for in buying a bed. Really simple form that captured my needs, and they over delivered on my needs. Wow,
Oh,
that's good.
awesome,
That's
awesome,
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah, that's
That's
a
awesome.
great example. And then there's another one from him. Wow, he's been shopping a lot. Another one is Fat Restaurant in TTTI. Okay, they
Oh,
started
nice
phone
restaurant.
delivery as well as pickup. Pickup really helpful, as parking is crazy, as they are able to cook close to the time you are to pick up, and they have not increased their prices yet. Really good meat and my quart rice as well as fried chicken. Okay, making us hungry.
Yep, yep. Gonna find out where this restaurant is after. Thanks, Daniel.
Thank you. You see, the thing about things like this is that we get food recommendations too. Okay,
Yep,
so
yep.
that's another comment. Elisa is asking a question. Just curious, would like to understand it from Tim's perspective. Do you see different groups of target audience or customers between online and offline? Great question, Elisa.
Yeah, really great question, Lisa. Thanks so much. I think there really isn't a different target audience. They're basically the same, but the mindset is different. And here's the
Mm,
difference, right?
mm,
When we're all shopping online, the mindset changes. I'm I am. I mean, for example, even myself, when I'm shopping for something online, I fire up the shopping platform app or wherever, and I'll
mm,
just go to the app and I'll look for the product first.
mm.
Naturally my instinct would be to say, because that's what these online platforms are telling you right now, buy from their authorized store, or the what's that, the like last mall has a like the official store
What,
and
like
stuff like that.
preferred seller
Yeah, yeah,
also, right?
purpose, and they're telling you that, right? But naturally the instinct is to say, okay, this is the price that the preferred store is selling at, can I get it cheaper? So it's not really a different customer, but it's the way the customer's perception is towards online. So online's customer base is really value driven. They've just got to ask themselves really like, can I get it cheaper? And they'll do that search and then, oh yes, I can find it cheaper. Then they're just making a decision right now. Okay, so my decision is, do I want it cheaper, or do I want that 1 year warranty? Or do I want that warranty that if there's anything wrong with the product, I can easily get it changed because I know the brand, this is the actual store and stuff like that. So the customer isn't really different, but what we've seen is that the perspective of the customer changes when they're online and offline. When they're going offline, they're going to the store, they're touching the product, they're spending the money. So they're really seeing that it's the feeling that they have, and a lot of times, especially with the idea of branded goods, um, or more premium goods, right? You're really seeing again a lot of things, like for example, the brand value to the name, the service I'm given at the store. A lot of these kind of point to the idea that whether I want to buy that, and at the moment, if I see that product on me, I've tried it on, how does it make me feel? If it feels great, I'm going to buy it straight away. So what we've seen is that it's not really a different customer, but or a different target audience, but more of the mindset that they have when they're shopping online and offline. So I hope that
Mm,
answers your question, Lisa.
okay. For me, I also think what you say is correct, because sometimes if I want to buy something online, you're very goal oriented. You're not so much on the experience side. You're more like, I just want to go in and I know what I have in mind, right? Just say I want to buy this product. I go in, I just search for that. I'm just comparing prices or comparing the reviews. But if you're just going to the mall, it could be accidental finds, right? You look at this shop, you like it, you walk in, and then you get attracted, and then you start buying things that you never thought you wanted to buy. So it's more of the on the spot kind of feeling that you have towards a
Yeah,
certain product. But online
I
is just very goal oriented.
Yeah, I think you're right, and that's the thing that I've been telling clients when we've been doing work for them. I said very simply, my job is very simple. When you
Mm,
engage me, my job is to design your store to the
mm,
point where it gets the customer to stop
mm,
and take notice.
mm.
The rest is up to you.
Yeah,
From the pricing of the product to the customer service to the actual product itself, that's all you. What I can do is deliver you a store that looks great. So I can dress the person up in great looking clothes. Ultimately, it's the personality, the pricing, uh, and the brand the brand association, or whether I want to deal or be associated with this brand. That's all the retailer, right? We have no control over that. So yeah, that's really what we do. But we can't deliver that online. It's difficult. I wouldn't say you can't. I would say you can't. It's very difficult to deliver that online.
yeah. So that's a good point to make also, because when people think of shopping online, they like really they have a different mindset. They're so goal oriented. Unless randomly shopping, they are probably random shoppers. If you're a random shopper, just go online and just browse and just see what you want to buy. I mean, that's a totally
Yeah,
different.
let me know what's your thought process. What do you fire up the app and then like what do you do? Do you just browse the bestsellers or just tell me your mind? We want to know. Actually, I want to know. I want to know because I can never find anything online. Like you said, I'm very goal oriented when I shop online.
Yeah,
So I want something and I'll just go look for it. But I've never been able to fire up that app and then, oh, what do you have on sale today? I don't
yeah,
know. Is that am
yeah.
I am I the weird one now? Tell me. Tell me.
Okay. So Mala has, I think, is a question. Okay. In terms of A&P allocation, what is the recommended park these days or moving forward, online versus brick and mortar?
A&P allocations. I can't really say much about that. Would you spend in store or online? I think a lot of your allocation would be online, where that's where most customers these days would really encounter your brand first. Um, but ultimately, what you want to really look at is tapping into the wealth of information that your brick and mortar actually gives you. What I mean by that is that you really want to look at the digitalization of your retail physical retail business. So you're talking about whether you're installing software in the outlet that tracks where the customer's going when they walk in, whether you're installing people counting software to understand how many people walk by your store, do they stop or do they come in, and then really testing it. So a lot of if you're looking at, I don't think there's so much A&P allocation, but that's sort of like where you're going to put your capital to use. If you're looking at brick and mortar utilization, then it would be about digitalizing that wealth of data that's in the store. That's all physical right now. You're not tapping to your POS. You're not using algorithms to understand what a customer's buying and so on and so forth. In terms of really A&P, I think you would be spending it more online because that's where your customer first encounters your brand.
Does that
Not
mean
not from a
advertising?
A&P. Yeah,
Does it mean
not
like
from an
advertising?
advertising thing. Yeah, that sounds like more of an advertising. To speak to Krista on that, I think she'll be able to help you a lot more than I could.
So even for us as well, that's why I want to go back to your point about talking about we can make the customer stop, because we can make your store look outstanding, unique. It's exactly like on online. Is a website can make the person come, stay, browse, but eventually, what happens after that is really you have to take it and base it on what you do with the customer, right? When the customer contacts you, calls you, so that's also where your customer service or whatever kicks in so that you can really start turning the person from a prospect to a customer. So thanks, Mala. for the A and P side kind of question, which is actually great. So in terms of just now you asked that question, let me see. I think somebody answered. Q Hong answered, same product but different pricing. Of course, look for bargains.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you.
By the way, she's an accountant, so I know her.
I see, I see. Okay, okay. No, we're not stereotyping here. But yeah, everyone looks for. I mean, I was told by a very prominent online trainer. She said, she told me, and she works with MDEC, and she told me, she said the reality is online buyers have no sort of loyalty. They would leave you for 1 ringgit. So I think I'm judging from her experience. I think that's true. Honestly, you're looking for bargains. I don't blame you.
Yeah. But also the thing is, how do we, okay, now this is my question to you, Tim. How do
Yeah.
we change that? Because right now you say digital is like this, right? Like people are very goal-oriented. They just want to go there and buy what they want to buy. How do we turn that into something more where we can engender the loyalty? Is there such a thing?
Uh,
Like
are you talking about from an online perspective
online
or?
perspective, because offline we can see that, right? Like you walk into a shop, whether the person treats you well, talks to you, or disregards you, and then you can see obviously. But online, because people are just like, I don't know, there could be price shoppers, but there could also be people who are really looking for a good experience shopping online. Is there a way for us to turn this let's not talk about price shoppers, let's talk about people who really genuinely are looking for an experience online. Is there a way for us as retailers to turn these people into, I mean, to give them a great customer service? Is it through the speed of response, or is it something else that will make them more loyal?
I think if you're looking to engender loyalty on your online presence, and I stand to be corrected on this, but my feeling is that if you're going to do it on the shopping platforms, no way. There's no way to do it in the shopping platform. You've got to drive your customers to your website or to your other social media platforms, where you can start to create that relationship. And I think that's where they should be talking to you about sort of like content creation, that investing in content creation. I guess if you really wanted to engender so-called loyalty on, if you're doing it on a really, you're saying to yourself, I'm going to do it on Shopee or Lazada only, then I would put my money behind, like what I think Yu Hong said just now, making sure that you answer them within 5 minutes if they have any queries. That means having someone dedicated on the that mobile device 24/7, just answering and sort of curating that process of answering them. So that would really be where I would spend my money if you really wanted to create that royalty. Whether that reflects on your profit and loss statement at the end of the year, I think that's a very questionable strategy. But definitely, that's how I would spend my money. But that's difficult, right? Wells, I think if you're going to create a better presence online through creating content, creating engagement, driving the experience onto your website, where or any of your social media where you can deliver sort of like a better experience, I think that would be where you should be spending your money, and that's really gonna really put in. You really need to put in some investment into that.
Yeah.
And the end result is that the reason why Malaysian businesses or retailers have been slow to digitalize has been really only one reason, because whatever they're spending on isn't reflected in the balance sheet at the end of the year. That means it's not reflected in either more sales or more customers. So it's difficult for them to pull that trigger to spend. Like for example, content creation. You're not going to be able to. You may not be able to. And I stand corrected on this. Maybe you can give us your insight. You may not be able to monetize it within the first 6 months of investing.
Yeah.
So the question is, do I continue doing it, or am I going to listen to my partners that say this is a waste of time? We should be doing more promotions or stuff like that.
Or ads.
Yeah, or ads. Or ads.
Yeah. Okay. So to me, I think marketing is definitely a long game. I mean, anything you do in marketing is a long game. So if you're looking for short-term gains and all that, I mean, you could try those, but if we're all here for the long term, then we should really put our effort towards some really long-term strategies. That's what I always believe. And of course, these days, like the past, I think, webinar that I gave recently, I said the only marketing these days that we have is actually content marketing, because all of us go online to look for information. I mean, whether it's
Yeah.
YouTube, whether it is Google, we just want the information to satisfy our own needs, right? So if you're a smart retailer, you should be putting your information out there so that when they search, when they Google, when whatever they do online, they will find you first. And that is just basically content marketing. So in a nutshell, I'm trying to say is
Yeah.
that's really content that you really should be focusing on.
Correct. And it's not difficult to do these days. You know, your phone, probably the mobile phone that you're on right now is more than enough for you to start generating that content. Well, it may not be as polished as someone that is, you know, if they come and look for you, you know, but generally, if they're looking to get started, it's not difficult. I mean, but they should generally, of course, speak to you, because what I think you offer them is that sort of that you take out their trial and error thing. You know, you be able to tell them early on, no, this doesn't work. That probably won't work. You're just barking up the wrong tree. You know, and it's the same thing that when they come and look for me, if they want to have a physical presence or they want to enhance their video strategy, I'm going to probably be able to tell them what not to do, or sort of like the common mistakes you could be doing, and that's just going to save you a world of time, which is, to me, the ultimate currency, right? Because no matter how much money, you can't buy more time. So the question is, do you really want to make that investment and probably waste money, or do you want a professional to tell you that, yeah, that's probably not going to work, and let me show you something that's really going to work.
Yeah, and give you the shortcuts, right? So that's why everyone here today is to talk to Tim so they can get the retail strategy so that they can up their retail game. Okay, so now let's get back to some of the comments. So what did Q Hong say? She said that Shopee Queen. So she calls herself a Shopee Queen, okay? And 5-star ratings. Okay, great. Now we know. You want to talk to her about Shopee, you can ask her. So Gideon says, I also look at whether they have good after-sales service or provide expert advice when choosing. Okay. So it means that Gideon, you also want them to reply. You just say, I'm asking, do you have this in 3 different colors? Or do you have this in 3 different sizes? So you want the person to respond to you also quite immediate, right? I mean, you don't have to wait half a day for the response to come in. Correct me if I'm wrong too, okay? And then Leighton says, we look at other customer reviews before confirm any purchase here.
Yeah. How do you get that when everyone's review is about 5-star seller hantar dengan cepat dan pack properly? That's not what you're looking for, right? When you want to buy the product, but most of your reviews are that, right? It's like 5-star hantar cepat, and I
pack
think
dengan bagus.
Bagus. I think that's most of the reviews, right? So again, you know,
it's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah.
So yeah.
Unless you do the extra homework, which means that, for instance, like my husband, right? What he does is he likes a product, right? He'll go and see on YouTube whether people review the product. Usually, these are like cameras and equipment and things like that. He'll go and review, and he'll watch all the other videos. So he doesn't really rely on the reviews on that store, but he'll go and do his extra homework, which I think it may not suit everyone, right? I mean, not everybody likes to do the extra research and do all the extra homework stuff. Yeah, so it's hard. That's why I say, even someday for me, when I buy stuff on Shopee, I look at the reviews and I think it doesn't tell me anything concrete about the product. It's just about the shipping and the packing. But what about the actual product? Is it a good quality? Did it come in the correct size? Did they, give you, and these days, of course, sellers are smart, right? They give you some little freebies, make you feel so excited, but so that's the typical way of retailers online these days. So be very happy to know how else do you get your reviews. Okay, and she mentioned that, yes, review on YouTube about a cake mixer. My girl does this research.
Awesome.
Maybe you are
Awesome.
lucky. You have your research assistants.
Correct. Good job. Good job there. Good training.
Yeah,
Good training.
good
Keep it
training.
up.
Okay, so we are at the top of our hour. So for those of you who are a little bit slow in asking your questions, unfortunately, we would have to end this session. But before we go, Tim, is there anything, any advice, anything that you want to say? Because we've said a lot, but
Mm.
anything that you want to leave people here, whether they are potential retailers or they are retailers with brick and mortar or retailers online, is there any advice that you give them?
I think one of my last piece of, if I may say, would be if they want to stay in business long term post pandemic, they've got to do three things. Number one, they've got to blur the line between offline and online. When I associate with your brand, retail brand, it's got to be seamless. I've
Mm,
got to be able to connect with you online and somehow be able to bring that in store, and that connection. That means if I'm looking for a product on your online store, when I walk into your store, you've got to find a way to recognize that that was me, and move forward instead of me starting the process all over again. So you've got to blur that line between online and offline. Secondly, I think to survive, you really got to turn the store into an experiential space. I'm not just saying it because it's the hot thing to talk about right now, and the reality is that if you're gonna be able to create a differentiation factor between the online shopping platforms and your actual brick and mortar business, you've definitely got to position the store as an experiential space. And the last thing I would say, honestly, is you've got to digitalize your customer service. No one wants to spend their time talking to a piece of technology that's asking them to press a number on the phone. Uh, a lot of the customers just want a human element immediately. And I think that's where a lot of US brands like Jet Black by Walmart, they have it. It's a paid for service you can subscribe to, where you have a human person talking to you 24/7 on gift ideas for your presents, or you're looking to pick up something, not sure, like you said, what color you want and stuff like that. So I think these three areas are going to be what moves retail businesses forward post pandemic. You've got to blur the lines between offline online. You've really got to position the store as an experiential space. And lastly, you've got to digitalize your customer service. That means you
mm,
cannot depend on answering emails or stuff like that. It's got to be, there's got to be, technology's got to assist you to create a more human element to your customer service. Not
mm,
so that's very different from automating your customer service, which most people
mm.
are doing by installing a bot or chat bot or something like that, which
Yeah.
frustrates the hell out of you. So yeah, I'm not talking about that.
I think I also want to add on to that is maybe what retailers or even people in business generally, if you can automate the mundane, the things that the whatever that doesn't really need your touch, but the other part is to really humanize the experience and to make it really high touch, because as we move more and more into digital, we kind of lose out that sense of the high touch part, right?
Yeah,
High tech is a very high tech thing, but high touch is really starting to, you know, perhaps being less and less important as everyone thinks of digitizing. It's just like technology, technology. Even though I work in technology, I believe that at the end of the day, sometimes it just has to be a human to human process or human human interaction, just like this, like what we're doing on live, right? It's a human thing. So,
yeah.
okay, before that, let me just pull up your website. If you're all interested to connect with Tim, visit his website, viscreative.com, and you can find him on Facebook as well as connect with him on LinkedIn. So, if you have more questions to ask him, or you want to just connect with him, because I think what we shared in 1 hour is just touching the tip of what he knows, tip of the iceberg. So, uh, go ahead and be his friend on Facebook and LinkedIn. And okay, let me see. There are two more comments I need to get to before we end. Q Hong says, I buy stationery, A4 paper, files in bulk. So buy bulk orders at discounts and quite good in after sales service and always reorder. Okay. But you have to make your first choice first, right? Who to buy from. Then only you experience the customer service.
True,
Otherwise,
true, very true.
yeah. And then Marilyn, great tip on blurring the lines, generate customer loyalty, soften the approach on both fronts while recognizing customer patterns. Yes, thank you, Marilyn. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being such an interactive audience. I really enjoyed today's session because it was not a one kind of live stream. It was two ways, right? It's not one way, it's two ways because we got lots of input for Tim too. So you got your live live
Yeah,
answers,
yeah,
live interaction. And you know for sure right now, if you're going to talk to your retailers, this is something that you can bring back to them and say, people are still a little bit scared of really going back into stores. But great advice. Thank you for sharing with us what you know about retail. I had so many other questions, but I guess we let the audience, we let the participants, people who tune in to really ask their questions. So thank you once more, ladies and gentlemen, for being wonderful guests. Thank you, Tim,
thanks,
for
Krista.
spending
Thanks,
your
thanks
Saturday.
everyone. Yeah, thank you so much for your time. It was lovely to be here. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's connect with me if you have any questions. Love to answer them.
Yeah. So thank you once more. Catch us 2 weeks from now, where we are going to talk about Clubhouse with someone who is doing Clubhouse very well. They're doing Clubhouse almost every single day. So I'm going to bring that person on 2 weeks from now, and she's going to teach us how they grew from like nothing to like thousands of followers.
Wow, looking
Yeah.
forward to that as well. Thanks,
Yeah.
Krista.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. And have a great Saturday and enjoy your weekend. Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.